I mean, listen, Bradley Beal stayed in Washington. He's coming into year 9, I think, right? Like, now he's a free agent in a year. And again, maybe now's the time we'll get to losers so far in free agency.
All right, it might as well.
And I don't think we need to sugarcoat this. I mean, the Boston Celtics might be the biggest loser right now in the NBA because you've got 2 All-Stars, one guy knocking on the door of being a top 5 player in the league, and Jason Tatum, in my opinion. Maybe, again, people will say I'm crazy on that, but I think Jason Tatum will be the best scorer in the NBA in 3 years. I really do. I think he'll be the best scorer in the NBA, period.
Right.
You got Jaylen Brown and Brad Stevens. The biggest move he made was bringing Josh Richardson in a 1-year deal worth about 11 to 12 million, which I think Josh Richardson's a nice piece, an upgrade over Shemi Ojale on the second unit. He's a better scorer and a really good defender. But if that's all you did, how can Celtics fans expect this team to be any better than it was last year when it was 500 and played in the playing game?
Well, particularly since we want to know who's going to be the point guard.
Well, we know who it is now. I mean, it's Marcus Smart. Who else could it be? You're going to start Peyton Pritchard?
I refuse. But that's by default. I certainly do, completely, in my mind, do not remotely think of him as a point guard. He's a guy that can handle certain aspects of the responsibility technically, but he's not a point guard. Never will be. You know, I mean, they need a real point guard. I mean, I hope that isn't the way that Brad and Emi are thinking, that this is the answer. That, I mean, guys are flying around. You know, you mentioned Kendrick Nunn. You know, that would have been somebody. I mean, I don't know, but who's left?
Nobody. I mean, Dennis Schroeder, who's flammable as anything. So you're not going to bring in, Brad Stevens is not going to bring in Dennis Schroeder, in my opinion, to be Ime Udoka's first point guard here in Boston. You know, you missed out. No Lonzo, no Kyle Lowry. Mike Conley goes back. So again, there's a drop at this point where I'm sure Brad is saying to himself, well, we can't really upgrade this all that much. So I'm going to stick with Marcus Smart, you know, unless, again, he can make a trade involving Marcus Smart. That would be, to me, the only other way to do this is, can you move Marcus Smart for another point guard? But I don't know who it is right now. I feel like it's almost like this is what you've got right now. We're going to be very mediocre this year, and we're going to put all of our chips in for next year for the guy who I've said they should do now is Bradley Beal. Now, I get it. Like, Brad's a lot smarter than I am. And Brad's probably saying to himself, well, why am I going to give up Jaylen Brown if in a year I got a chance to maybe get Brad Beal? I know Beal is going to be frustrated. They traded Westbrook. They're not going to be good this year. I mean, they got Kuzma. And, you know, the funny part is Brad Beal is like best friends with Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who they got in that trade to Washington.
Yeah.
So Beal's going to ride out this year. The big question is he could sign a huge extension right now if he wants to for huge money, or he can wait a year and sign even more or become a free agent. So if you're Brad, you're rolling the dice a little bit here, because Beal's the one guy that you probably look at and say, he's the missing piece. If I add him with Tatum and Jaylen Brown, we got a chance here.
Yeah, now we're talking.
We got a chance. We got our big three, right? And our big three is younger than your big three over in Brooklyn or your big three in LA. So we'll take our chances and grow with our big three. They're going to get better and better. Your big threes are going to get worse and worse and older. So I like the idea of it. If it works, listen, if it works, Brad Stevens is a genius, because I'll take this year, if I'm a Celtics fan, of mediocrity if I've got a chance to maybe win it all in 2, 3, 4 years.
Well, they're very frank about saying that they're playing a long game in terms of making sure where their financial situation is right, so that the next year they can go after people,
right,
and significant people. And so they're, read between the lines, folks. We're not kidding anybody about what we're going to be this year.
Right.
So,
but why not get somebody again? Why not get a guy even on a 1 year now? And there weren't many 1 years out there. There, you know, a lot of these guys, even like the Jeff Greens of the world, you know, 2 years, 10 million. again, Kendrick Nunn, 2 years, 10 million. I might have done a Kendrick Nunn of 2 years, 10 million, but they're trying to make sure that next year that they're going to be in a position where they can add a Bradley Beal. They're going to have, I'm telling you, they're going to have nobody under contract beyond this year if they can, other than two guys, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. And everybody else is going to be expendable.
And one thing they do have in the discussion of this point guard is an excellent backup. They got a backup. They just need a guy
They
for
got
him to
two good
back up.
backups.
Yeah.
Marcus Smart and Peyton Pritchard. The problem is they don't have a starter.
Yeah, that's right. That's
right? I mean, that's the problem. So the Celtics, to me, again, I think you're looking at more of the same, 500 this year, unless something crazy happens. And, you just got to make sure what you have to do this year, as much as anything, is get the chemistry right between Tatum and Jaylen Brown.
Yeah.
So that if they get a Brad Beal, they're clicking at all cylinders, and both those guys are getting better. Like, they have to keep making strides so that they're ready in a year. Tatum, again, is a top 5 player in the league in 2 years. And Jaylen Brown is a clear-cut all-star and has gotten his decision-making better. And, his shot continues to fall.
Hi guys, Cedric Maxwell here. I want to take a minute to tell you about Marigold Medical. I'm used to keeping my body in great shape, but with arthritis, even the most simple everyday tasks became unbearable. As soon as I called Marigold Medical, I knew I was in good hands. No drugs, no surgery, just an experienced team of caring professionals that wanted to get me back to doing the things I love. Make the call to Marigold Medical and get back to pain-free life.